It's a beautiful day today. I am very excited to be here. This is Sandra at Life and Living It. And today I have an amazing woman streaming in from the state of Florida, and you are going to be blessed and inspired. If you are watching this, let us know where you are watching from. If you are watching this on a replay, you can do hashtag replay and go ahead and share it because you will be inspired. And I always say that it's always good to learn and be inspired when people share their story to pick up the nuggets and also apply that to your life. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce my beautiful guest, Telecia Walker, all the way from the state of Florida. So Telecia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then we can get started?
Oh, well, it's a little joke in my family that we're a little bit gypsy because we've been a little bit around the world and stayed a bunch of places because I joke about it. But yes, I'm in sunny Florida. As you can see, I'm Telecia Walker, and I'm a well-being coach, a medical massage therapist. And most of all, I love to help people. So I do a lot of transformational speaking, and I've done some the radio and also the books. But my greatest passion is I love to see all people thrive, especially our people thrive. And so me and Sandra just are here today to share a little bit of how we feel about all of that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. She's like that and that massage therapist, a coach. I mean, I don't know how she wears all those hats, but I guess as we dive in, we would understand. But I know that she's blessed, of course, to be able to have all those gifts to serve, her mission and her purpose in life. Wow. So, Miss Alicia, I always say, like, when you get up in the morning, what are some of the things that you think about that brings you joy?
Well, we all know we first wake up in the morning. Sometimes that's not the first feeling we feel, like, oh God. But I have this thing, and it's just tried and true. I'm a believer, so I do have to sit back and take my time to give thanks first to the Father for waking me up and spend my time with in meditation. I do Bible study, but whatever for anybody else. But me spending my time in meditation with God, the Word, maybe just to sit still for a moment, that just brings me so much clarity for the day, and it brings everything into perspective. And a lot of times in that, you may wind up waking up with a burden, but after I played a few songs or listened to my daily audio Bible, I may have had a whole service in here by myself, but it does give you the boost. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and these things shall be added unto you. Yeah. So I don't worry about all of that. It just gives me the confidence knowing that I've given all of my day to him, and that brings me joy. And just having things in life, maybe waking up with the grandkids and seeing them do something funny. But most of all on my day-to-day, it's my relationship with God and Jesus that helps me get it going.
Wow. I like that perspective because you kind of, what you said was that when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you'll be all over the place. But thinking about God, that kind of gives you the joy first. And then once you have the joy, then you can think of the other ones like your grandkids and other things that you do in life. So joy is in essence for you, your joy is from the Lord. And that is it. Because that's it. Your joy is from the Lord. Everything else is bonus, right?
Right, because when you understand that, when you truly understand that he is all powerful and that he is I am, like everything that you need actually, and you've actually been able to experience him. I tell people, I'm sorry, I was a single parent, so over time I've been able to see his hand over my life and provide and bring me comfort when I've hurt and all those things. So where I am now in my relationship, I've already tried it. So it's like, okay, we're going to put this back in your hand, because actually after you try him a little bit and you see how well he works things out, you actually I'll let you do that because you work it out a lot better than me. So that's why it's just like easier, I know, for me than some other people. That's to just say, oh God, yes, God is.
Wow, absolutely. I like your connection with God. Anytime I talk to you, I will hear God. Was it always like that, or you have to kind of learn, go through life and then get to a point in your life to say that, you know what, I can't. I was trying to do this, but now I'm at the place where without God, I am not.
Of course, we all did that, where like they say, you'll give it to them, but then you pick it back up. And like I said, I've had times when I've said I've given it to them, and then, I can remember many times I always joke about, I had someone, a doctor or an employer that was persecuting me, and I knew God told me to just hold on, to the point to where my schedule was cut down to 2 days a week. And I could hear God saying, just hold on and stay with the other doctor that I was with. And I never had to ask that other doctor, but he even came to me out of his own cognizance and told me, don't worry, if you stay, I'll take care of you. But I still never had to ask him for anything. But I can remember driving up many a days because I didn't have the light bill money because I was working 2 days a week. Just like, if I open these doors, these lights are going to be off today. And they never got turned off. So like I said, there's been so many instances where I've had to try him. Oh, I never sweat. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm outside, but I've had to try him, and he's shown himself to be a provider. He's shown himself to be a healer. He's shown himself to be a mighty hand. He's shown himself to be a judge in the courtroom. He's shown himself to be everything that he says that he is. And it does take time, and it does take a lot of faith. It does take obedience. It does take repentance. It does take all of those things. It's not just, I gave my life to Christ and that's it. Then that's the form of godliness. But you have to try him. But you have to don't deny the power. You got to let the Holy Spirit change. And that's a deeper conversation. But that's why I say it came with time, and we all can progress. And the scripture that if you need one, for those who need one, I think it's in Hebrews, where he talks about having your heart sprinkled from an evil conscience. A lot of people think that when they turn their lives over, that, they're going to stop and everything's going to be perfect. But no, we'd be lost and hurt if God just took everything away. So he does things in stages. I tell people sometimes you want to work on something, but he knows that if he works on that right now, it'll be too much for you. There's something else. And so that's what a lot of times when I say giving it back to him, that's what you have to wind up doing, is understanding that he'll cut. This is a two-edged sword. He'll cut and mend you and all and rebuild you the way he wants to. Because like I said, we want to get rid of and look right. That's not what he does. He does it from the inside out, not the outside in. So yeah, it took a little time, but it's worth it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And that's deep. Not everybody is at that spiritual consciousness. For some people, they'll never experience that. But for those who are open and are listening, let them hear. And it's an amazing experience when you have that spiritual connection. You don't feel alone in this world. That's what I say, because you know that at the end of the day, you can always plug in or connect to your creator. That's amazing. So if you are watching us, this is Sandra at Life and Living It, and today my special guest is Telecia Walker, streaming in from the state of Florida. And thank you, everybody who decided to tune in and watch us today. Miss Faustina P. Hagen says, good afternoon, my beautiful ladies. And she is also from Delaware, and that's my mother-in-law. And Ama Rosina Owusua says, good afternoon, boss ladies. And anytime we say boss ladies, you can tell that's my business partner. And Wayland Owusu Prempa says, kudos to you. I'm watching all the way from Ghana. Thank you very much, Wayland. My mother says, Patricia Adakwe, she said, good afternoon. And I have my husband, Samuel Quay, who is also watching this afternoon. Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, everybody who is watching us today. So, Telecia.
Yes. Can you give me 1 second? Just 1 second.
Sure. Mm-hmm. All right, and if you are watching us, I want to say thank you very much. We are going to have a blast today. And for those who might not know Telecia, Telecia is owner of Experience Anew. She is a transformational speaker. She's also a Wellbeing Life Coach, as well as medical massage therapist, former radio host, and international best-selling author. Wow. How can one person wear all these hats? But through the grace of God, and also I believe hardworking and the desire to be impactful, she has done all that. Telecia, let's talk about your book. What
Mhm.
was that? What was the title of the book, and what inspired you to write a book?
Well, it's a collection of different ladies, think about 9 of us, different ladies. And the book is called The Art of Unlearning, The Power of Perseverance. And it's about a series, but this particular book, like I said, is The Power of Perseverance. So it's a collection of stories and little tips from different coaches that they've gone through in this book. And you can find it on Amazon, the Kindle also. But like I said, it amazed me because within 24 hours, and I didn't feel like I wrote anything special. I'm about to fall. Except I have a fall. It's a blooper, y'all. But it amazed me, just being faithful because at the time when I wrote it, I was actually getting my master's, and my brother persuaded me to get in with this group to write it. And I really was writing it. And, if you're in school, you're writing a lot of papers too. And it just, when you just be obedient and you feel God just blesses it. So as far as the book proceeds, we made them to go to an organization called Kiva. And it's a nonprofit that helps women in other countries who are starting businesses to get grant funding to start their businesses so they may feed their family and take care of them also. So you can find that book on Amazon, The Art of Unlearning, The Power of Perseverance.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So Telecia, I know you're a mother. You have your professional work that you do. You're also a grandmother. And I always say, that I always ask everybody that this question, because sometimes balance seems to be luxury, because you can't be here and be there at the same time. So what has helped you to be able to balance your career life as well as family and all that?
Well, I am a certified Wellbeing Life Coach, and part of my approach is just finding ways to manage the energy that you have that's available to you. The old saying is, I pick my battles. Or even now, as everyone see me outside, because I had a change in my plans because I wanted to help. I have my grandkids now who I didn't plan to have earlier. And so I don't have a problem with that. So how can it fit into my life? I know that they can be in there and I can sit out on my hammock and talk with you. So a lot of times people get so caught up in what they want to happen,
Right.
or the outcome, that they get so lost and that they don't get a chance to experience what's actually happening.
Right.
So coming from a place of I have to do this as opposed to I want to do this, it's a lot of your perspective also, because you can drain yourself just like, oh, I have to do this and all that. Necessarily, no, you don't. You can pick and choose what you want to do in your 24 hours. So if you do something, you've chosen to do it. So you kind of find joy. It's like someone working all day long doing something they like to do. They never get tired, as opposed to you having to clean a bathroom you don't want to clean. It may be the most gruesome experience in the world. So It has a lot to do how you feel about what you're doing and not getting so caught up in the changes of what's going on, so that you can actually enjoy what is happening. So that's how I do it.
Wow.
So kind of go with the flow, but in a productive way. It doesn't drain me. Even if it's a chance to just not do anything, sometimes a lot of people have a problem with that.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So and I know sometimes when we talk about, oh, I'm going to see a massage therapist, it is more than just going and having your back or your arms massage. I think you have a more like holistic approach. Can you explain that to us, for some of us who might know just a little bit about massage therapy?
I'm a medical massage therapist. You use outcome-based therapy. So you come to see me, you have a pain, and we have a goal to meet. I try to keep it sweet like the old massage, but I tell people you're muscles and bones, and you can't take away from that. And a lot of times we want to seek care and treatment for pains and everything, then we negate the muscles. But the approach that I come from is that the emotions that you feel, or the occupational stressors like your job, sitting down all day long, or if you've been in a traumatic experience before, a car wreck or something, a lot of those play a lot of factors in whether you feel a lot of pain long term. And I tell people that really still is a small factor of it, because the body heals. Yes. So it's just a matter of what you're doing now is what's most important. Are you compensating, or are you still holding on to the past hurts and pains that somebody did to you or something? All of that stuff weighs down on the body. So when the approach that I get when people come to see me is that they have to take into account their whole body. I can rub on you all day long, but if you don't be honest with yourself that you're still mad at your dad for whatever, or your mom for whatever, or your ex-boyfriend, or the job that you lost, or you're still walking around rehearsing that story over and over again of that traumatic accident, you're holding on to a lot more than just the physical pain. You're holding on to the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual aspect of it also, and those weigh heavy on people. So just helping people to take a honest approach at their whole being when it comes to their healthcare, and not just saying, oh, rub on me today and I'll be fine, because you're going to hurt again, and it's just wasting our time. That's how I do that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, because the last time we talked, you had, I wouldn't say a burden on your heart to help our community, the Black African American community. So what are some of the things or initiatives that you would want to do, or to help our community in terms of even nutrition, taking care of ourselves, so that we don't repeat past generational mistakes, so that we don't actually fall in the statistics that or maybe perpetuate what has been said about us.
Right. Well, that's a good question, because goodness, got an N on me. That's a good question, because we really, as a Black community, there's so many layers to us, and there's so many generational layers to us. And yes, God did place it on my heart to be a face and a voice for our people. And I was like, what, Lord? They're hard-headed. They don't want to listen. I'm being honest with you, people. But it's so many factors that are in it. Our fears with the healthcare system, our accessibility to healthcare, all kinds of things, our cultural biases, and, things that we have holding on as a Black community kind of hinders us. And as a whole, we have to take, like I said, an honest approach, awareness to what we're really dealing with, how we're really feeling, and take away the stigma of having a mental health crisis or things like that. So he did place it on my heart. And like I told everybody talking about why I haven't spoken, don't do a lot of things, because that's what the area that he's been having me to kind of experience and explore right now is the mental health of our Black community. And it's the bigger issue is that we don't have a lot of representation in the healthcare system for us. Before I moved back here, I actually did a study with NIH to help to do that, because all the cardiovascular studies and that are on Caucasian males or European males, and we don't have a lot on African Americans. So, or even like me, a healthy African American with no health issues, there's a rarity of that. So we lead in cardiovascular disease, we lead in HIV, we're leading in COVID, we lead in all the major health issues, but yet, why? Even down to infant mortality rate with our babies, or deaths after birth. Why? Despite income or anything, we lead in those. And so that's where like I said, it's a bigger issue. And it wasn't a long time ago that all these things happened to us, because the Civil Rights Act, the ability to have equality in healthcare and for doctors not to turn us away and things like that, just happened in, I think, the 60s or so. It wasn't that long ago. I think it was 1946, I believe. But so we have to take into account, to be honest, that there's a lot of burdens and fears that we have still. And that's just what I've been exploring. And how can we approach that? Is first of all, is awareness, and people like me need to start speaking out and empowering others and educating a lot more. Everybody has their own audience that they can reach. And so, like I said, there's a lot lower representation of us that are speaking our truths and helping people to demystify holistic healthcare. Like I do aromatherapy, and a lot of my people call it witchcraft because of the essential oils. No, it's an oil for that, sweetheart. Before we had all this man-made medicine, we have plants. And even man-made medicine starts with plants. And so we have everything we need on the earth to heal, or even in our bodies, the ability to heal. As long as you're here, you can heal. I tell my clients, anything that's not growing is dying. And if you're in my face, we didn't get the memo that you're dead yet. So you still have some life to live. But we have a lot of just educating and representation and lack of awareness in our community or belief. So
wow, that's amazing. Talking about plants, We can't have enough plants in our system, and that's
Correct.
how God made it. God, in His own wisdom, put plants on this earth, for them to serve us, and
Right.
it has become one of my passion to talk about plants. First, starting with me getting more plants into my system and comparing the before and the after. And plants are very essential because they have all the phytonutrients that the body needs in order to help the body reduce inflammation, in order to help the body to fight against all these free radicals. And since we are taking a healthy break, I want to talk to you about plant-based protein powders that we can incorporate in our diet, so that we don't go without the plants, because that is the only thing that protects ourselves from aging, from oxidative stress. It's only plants. We get it, and plants have about 10,000 phytonutrients, and that is what we need, because we don't live in a world that is clean anymore. We live in a world that is full of toxic. The food that we are eating is not pure, it's not clean. Whatever is used to grow is not healthy for us. So I want to introduce to you our plant-based protein shake. And the reason why I like this plant-based protein shake, before I wasn't the kind of person that drinks smoothies and shakes and all, but I felt it was another way to increase my plant intake. So with a plant-based protein powder, you will get your protein as well, because it's from soy. And you also have over 17 variety of fruits and vegetables in the plant-based powder. So having that as a breakfast, that's check to go, because you have all the phytonutrients, you have the vitamin A, vitamin C, you have vitamin D, you have over 17 variety of fruits and vegetables, and that's your breakfast. That's a complete healthy meal that you can have. So for even people who are trying to manage their weight, I think it's a great way to go, because it's all plant-based nutrition, less than 1 gram of fat. It has all the vitamins that you need. It has the prebiotic, it has the digestive enzymes, and it will serve your body right. So since we are talking about plants, this is a great way to get the plants in your system. And I know sometimes we are used to all, the fatty breakfast, like our bacon and the scrambled eggs and all that. You can still eat that, but it's also a good substitute for when sometimes you are in a rush and you are trying to get to work, get the kids together. Instead of just picking stuff and eating, you can drink the shake and you'll be fuller until your snack time or until your lunchtime. So if you are looking for a way to get plant-based nutrition, feel free to contact us and we'll point you to the right direction in terms of having a plant-based protein shake. And it's very delicious. It comes in French vanilla and it comes in dark chocolate. So depending on the flavor that you want, but this is healthy meal that will serve your body right, give you the enough plants that you need. Not just this alone, but you have to also be intentional about eating, incorporating more fruits and vegetables with your diet as well. All right, see Alicia. Alicia is coming back. All right. Okay.
Sorry about that. My
That's
phone
okay.
just went out. Like, okay.
All right. And Patricia Adako said, amazing. Faustina Higgins said, wow, that's amazing. Wow. So that's I always do these health shows, and I have a friend who is a registered nurse. So we talk about the statistics in the African American community about men dying of heart attack, heart diseases, and it's about time that we change the paradigm. It's not heredity. Sometimes we think, oh, because my mom had it, and therefore I can. But you can change it. A lot of the things that we have, we can change it through lifestyle, through healthy living. What's your take on that, Telecia?
First, you were talking earlier, and that kind of goes in what you were saying about the oxidative stress.
Yes.
And because, especially as Black women, a lot of us have this I am woman, hear me roar motto, I can do it all kind of attitude, and we overwork ourselves.
Yes.
And people don't understand that we brush off stress. Oh, I'm just stressed or whatever. But you really don't get how much you're deteriorating your body. And if you're not countering it with some type of supplement or some type of antioxidant of some sort, how you're just aging yourself early, and also causing a lot of health diseases that are come from stress.
Yes.
You know, being under the chronic state of stress, that's where we have going back to the high blood pressure and things. Because when people know the fight or flight syndrome. So if you're chronically always thinking that you're have to get, race, be in a rat race, or you're fighting for your life, and or you can't get anything unless you struggle, then you tell your body that that's normal. And so, but it's not normal, because you have a lot of hormones that are constantly bombarding your body, the cortisol and all these things. And not to get too scientific, but you have what are called catabolic and anabolic cells in your body. Some build up and some tear down. Yes. And like I said, being under that stress, you produce more of the catabolic hormone things in your body, which tear you down. And that's why we get a lot of stomach issues. And so that's why first I wanted to touch on that, how much stress is a primary factor to a lot of our health issues. And like I said, and not getting the care you need or the help you need when you need it. You not give yourself permission, but did I answer your question? I want to make sure.
Yes, you did. You did. Yeah. Oxidative stress is huge. And I'm glad you touched on that. Oh, amazing. So Telecia, on the path of being obedient to God, because there are so many things that God will place in your heart to do. And sometimes you're looking at your current situation, and then you're thinking, I'm not ready for this. I can be doing that. You know what I mean? Like I can be doing this, maybe this might, in your limited thinking, this might fetch me more money, or maybe this is convenient. When I do this, or I play safe, I might not hurt anybody or say things that will rub people the wrong way. So therefore, I just want to just do what I want to do. So in your obedience to God, you would face persecution. Or you want you think you know it all? You're trying to tell us what to do? That you
we're gonna try you, boo. Beside the song say, try Jesus.
You're going to face persecution, and sometimes it will be, I would say, relinquishing what you thought was the way that you were going to go to doing what God wants you to do. And for you, what were some of the stuff that you had to let go so that you can let God in, or let God direct you to what He wants? Because sometimes you probably you had ideas as to this is how my life was going to be, and now you're at a place where you are more purposeful, mission-led. So what are some of the things that you had to let go? And in the letting go, what are some of the things that the heartache or the pain that came with it, and how now you have seen the hand of God and you knew that it was the best thing for you?
That's a big question, because I tell people at this age, really, when I see things go crazy and what I wanted to work out doesn't work out, I actually get excited, because I've had it happen so many times. And every time my plans have been disrupted, like the aftermath has been wonderful. Classic example, I was a teenage parent. But for me, that's bigger because I was in IB. That's like college and high school, international baccalaureate program. I was accepted in Bethune-Cookman already by 10th grade. Every award, you name it, I'm first chair flute player. Everything you could do, I was doing it. So there were so many hopes and dreams from a lot of people that love me. So to get pregnant, though, back then it wasn't acceptable, so to say. So I got kicked out of all of those programs, and I had to revamp. And we were joking yesterday about I shouldn't have went into a regular class, because that wasn't the best thing to do. But I at that time too, letting go what I think is going to happen and going with the flow of what's happening, you wind up being blessed. Years pass. I just sing on this. I've toured through France and Switzerland singing, just being in a different path, because I wound up doing dentistry instead of going to college, because they were paying for a year program. You just take whatever. And so I knew I didn't want to be a nurse, so I chose dentistry. And it was the best thing, because if I wouldn't have been in the dental office, then I would have been singing in front of somebody who heard me singing and took me on tour, and I'd never sing before, even though it wasn't the best, but just the experience, how things can happen. You'd be so caught up. And then after that, like I said, you see books, and that's just the half of the things I have done. Just being obedient, going with the flow, not being so caught up in things. In our coaching world, we call it detached involvement. And that means being able to be a participant and an observer at the same time. Okay. That means I can not being so attached to the outcome also. That means that I'm going to experience what happens. I'm going to participate, but I'm going to step back and observe it so that I can remember the moments. I'm not going to get caught up in everything to where I can't function to a certain degree. Now, we all still do. I'm not perfect, but some things I've had to let go, or my fears or my expectations. That's the first one we have to. And people that are in my life, they know I'll ask you when things go crazy, remember what you prayed for. And I said it to say a lot of times we'll pray for a new job, we'll pray for a new, new relationship or whatever, but we'll stay there. So what God does, you're still praying for this. Oh, he knows that's what you want. So he starts stirring the pot. And for you Bible readers, you know the story of Elijah when the brook dried up and things like that. We can get so caught up in the brook and the provisions that were there, but it's time to move.
Right.
And so when things get crazy, that's why I say I get excited now, because I've seen the brook dry up a couple of times, because it's time to move. Even down to now with me doing medical massage and all that, I hear that it is time for me to get out and start sharing knowledge and speaking more. And some things are happening where I say, okay, if you don't do it, the brook's going to dry up.
Right.
And that just comes with a lot of growth and maturity. I can see that, being obedient, but you have to lose maybe some relationships, that you may have wanted. So you can hear, and I have a story for that, how when Gideon had all these people that wanted to go to war with him, but God said he had too many. So he turned back. First, he got rid of the scared. Anybody scared? Okay, y'all got to go. Then he said, you still have too many. So he took them over to the little lake or river or whatever for them to drink. So some got on their knees and drank the water, and some stayed up and drank the water. And he told them to get rid of the ones who got down on their knees. Why? Because in the end of the day, where you're going, they still can't go. Like, they're ready for battle, but they don't stay ready for battle. Their eyes are down at the water, at their fleshly needs or so. So you have to cut off some people before the journey, just because they have the heart to want to go with you, but they can't stay focused long enough to be there in the battle. But you need those people who are going to stay up and still can stay ready for battle if someone comes. So, that's what I said, comes through growth, comes from seeking He first thing in the morning, because He's always on time with telling you or giving you some type of vision. He keep the imperfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee, so kind of thing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. So if anything, before you go, like anything that you want to share, your closing thoughts with the people who are watching us. And I know that the people who are watching us they are much less than the people who will be watching us in the future. So what are your closing thoughts that you want to share?
I think where we are in this generation, we do know that healthy is the new wealthy. If you can have all the money in the world and everything, even down to having the relationships, but if you personally don't be honest with yourself and feel good about yourself and your whole being, people say, I don't need a social life. Yes, you do. You need friends, people to support you, spiritual life, all of that, your environment, where you are, all those things matter. So we just have to remember that as long as anything that's not growing is dying. And as long as you're still alive, there's more right with you than there's wrong with you, and work with that. So that's what I'll leave them with.
Wow, that's amazing. I am so blessed, listening to you. It was a short conversation, but you said so many things that were profound. And I know that we know that regardless of your journey, God use whatever you have been through, the pain and everything.
All things work together.
All things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose.
Yes.
What a way to wrap up. So whatever you are going through, that God will use it for His good, is going to inspire somebody. And like you said, being a teenage mother with everything that came with it, some way, somehow, God put you on the path to significance and being impactful. And I'm glad that you decided to join us to share your journey, your truth, and we are very, very much inspired. And I know that if somebody was hopeless, or they were in a state of despondency, your story will help elevate them and understand that if God be for us,
it's more than the world against us.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much, Telecia. And if you just tuned in, this is Telecia Walker from Florida. We said so many things, so you got to go back and watch it. Yes. If you need advice on medical massage therapy, I mean, she's done it all. Holistic approach. She'll be able to help you. I will put her website and information below, and you can contact her if you are in the Florida area. Even if you are not, there's a way that she can make sure that she get what you need. Absolutely. This is Sandra at Life and Living It. It's been a pleasure having everybody here today. Thank you, Miss Alicia Jackson,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.